Hello, and welcome to the CorDogg Experience, where I talk Ohio State Buckeyes. Talking Buckeyes from the fans' point of view, various social media sites. Bring it back here, put my spin on it. CorDogg Experience in a nutshell, right there. So if you like Buckeye talk, please hit the like button. If you're feeling what you're hearing, if you like what I'm bringing, please hit the subscribe button and help me grow this thing out. So, again, hit the like button, subscribe, grow. With that said, let's just jump right into it. The week 3 college football playoff rankings came out. No surprises among the top 4 or 5 for that matter, as all those teams won. Our Buckeyes clocked in at number 2 still. They did what they needed to do, looked the part. They needed to look the part, came clocked in at number 2, and then rounding out the top 6 is LSU has moved up thanks to Oregon losing to Washington. So really no surprises with the rankings, how it's laid out and how it was determined. The big takeaway following the week 3 rankings is the Pac-12 and Oregon's loss. That they got to hang their hat now on SC and how SC is going to jump the 2 teams in front of them. Should stuff play out certain ways, it's going to be hard to see. So obviously they have to win out, and we'll see where things play out in a few weeks. But top 6, no top 10 for that matter, just no big surprises other than the Oregon loss. So that's not much to say about the playoffs. And nothing's really going to get shaken up unless TCU loses. I did predict them to lose to Texas, but they didn't. So hats off to TCU. They looked the part. I would say I'm not surprised that the committee kept the rankings. To say I did in my own personal rankings, I did have TCU leapfrogging Michigan because I just felt they played a tougher schedule than what Michigan has played thus far. But committee-wise, I knew the committee wasn't going to do anything drastic with the rankings this week. Status quo for the most part. The teams won that needed to win. Ohio State, more specifically, they needed to look good against Indiana, and they did. They looked the part, looked good. On to the next week, you gotta rinse, wash, repeat. They got to do the same thing. They got to look good against Maryland. So, not much to say about the rankings. If you guys are surprised at the rankings, if anything in the rankings have surprised you, please in the comments what you think about the rankings. To me, no big thing there. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with SC if they win out. It's going to be hard to move them up. You look at who's in front of them. I can see them moving in front of Tennessee because Tennessee, they don't play the champion. They lost the opportunity to play in the championship game, but how big is that loss to Georgia going to weigh? And I think she'll weigh heavily because Tennessee they were dominated in that game. So if SC were to win out, I can see them leapfrogging Tennessee down the road if they're able to win out and win the Pac-12 championship. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But first thing first, Ohio State got to handle business this week. Fear the turtle. Maryland is coming up. Should be a good game. Maryland has nothing to lose. Pretty much like Indiana last week, in Northwestern the week before that, they don't have nothing to lose. And unlike Indiana, unlike Northwestern, Maryland has a good offense. They haven't looked good the last couple weeks, but they have a good offense. They have a passing game. A good passing game. They got next to Ohio State. They probably have the best group of receivers. So it's going to be a challenge because that's the one weakness still in a lot of people's minds, mine included, is our pass defense. And we really haven't been tested through the air this season. We haven't really had met that type of team with the passing capability that Maryland potentially possesses going into that game. Good quarterback, Tagovailoa. Good receiving core, Raheem Jarrett. They're gonna test our young DBs, and we're gonna see if we hold up in the pass game. They haven't had to this point. In the games where they were challenged some through the air, I think comes to mind the Michigan State game where Jalen Reed had a good game. So they're going to get tested through the air, and we're going to see how we manage. And it should be a good test going into the Michigan game. Not to jump ahead too much, but I think it's going to be a good matchup to see if our pass defense can hold up against Maryland. Because if it can hold up against Maryland, it should be hold up against Michigan the following week. And if we can hold up against Michigan the following week, that we can focus a lot more on the running game. But first things first, Maryland. It's not going to be an easy task. I hope they're not caught looking ahead and reading by statements from Ryan Day. He's not looking ahead. He shouldn't be looking ahead. I don't think a lot of the fans are looking ahead. I was reading where they did the poll. Everyone has, this is the season of polls. They did a poll and they asked, I think they had like 6,000 or so responses. Does Buckeye Nation consider Maryland to be a threat heading into this weekend? And I was actually surprised by the response, because you look at a lot of folks on the different platforms and stuff. We should be blowing everybody out. No one should be a threat to no one should be a threat to Ohio State. We should just show up and win. That's in the minds of a lot of folks. We just show up and win. And so I was surprised when folks start to see Maryland as a threat. I was pleasantly surprised, because I think they are a threat. I was surprised that Buckeye Nation realizes that though some of these other teams have some athletes, they can play, and Maryland poses a threat. And I think what stuck out in a lot of folks' minds, and what Ryan Day brought up, was the game a few years back where it was that 52 to 51 ball game. We were supposed to roll in there and just handle Maryland. Didn't turn out that way. That turned into a dogfight, an exciting dogfight up and down. Whoever, basically almost one of those games, whoever had the ball last was going to win, and they gave us everything we could handle in that game. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins he saved our bacon that day. He had a phenomenal game. He needed to for us to win, and so I think Ryan Day, that in the back of his mind, he knows the type of challenge they're heading into this weekend when they go up to Maryland. They have nothing to lose. I think they're coming in like 25 to 27 point underdog. So as always, we're going to get their best shot. I think Ryan Day recognizes that, and hopefully he has the team ready to go. Hopefully they can get out on top early, sort of smother any chances Maryland may think of having or entertaining of giving us a tough game. So hopefully they're ready to go from the jump. Because you give a team that type of offense any life, it could end up being a long weekend. And so hopefully it's true to its word and the team is ready to go, because Maryland they're going to present some challenges to us, particularly in the past game. If our corners can hold up, see if the secondary can hold up, see if we can get the pressure on them to help the secondary some, because I do think they're going to get challenged this weekend. But so other than the defense, I'm excited to see how the offense is going to do. In particular, the running game. We needed to get it back on track against Indiana, and we did. They need to continue to look good in the running game. We know what happened with Mayan Williams. He went down. Our folks stepped in. Xavier came in. Dallin Hayden came in, and we look good. The running game need to look good. They look good. We put over 300 yards rushing. So the running game looked good, and they need to continue doing that against Maryland. I think we got back on track against Indiana, and then you always have the detractors. Well, that was Indiana. They should have looked good. That was just Indiana. Whoop-de-doo. But look at the numbers. I brought up a thing that had the numbers. Yes, it was Indiana. So you look what Ohio State against Indiana, and you look at what some of the running teams in the Big Ten did against Indiana. So you got to look at it from that perspective. If you look at it from that perspective, Illinois running team, Chase Brown, for a while there was in talks, borderline whisperings about Chase Brown being the Heisman candidate because his numbers for a good portion of the year has been better than the Michigan Blake Corum's numbers. But against Chase Brown, they held Illinois to 216 yards, only 4 yards per carry. That's Illinois, Chase Brown. They're known for running the football. That's what they do. They run the ball. So Indiana held them 4 yards per carry. Michigan, the running machine. That's their bread and butter this year. Blake Corum running the ball. He's parlayed that into a Heisman candidacy to a point. Indiana played him. Blake Corum, the Michigan offense, 165 yards, 4.1 yards per carry. Okay, decent. It was a decent running team. They're expected to do that. Excuse me. Expect to do that. So another running team, Indiana. 4.1 yards per carry. Penn State, they're more of a balanced attack than both Illinois and Michigan. They got an outstanding freshman running back. Penn State, 179 yards for the game, 3.7 yards per carry. Okay, those are running teams. That's Indiana. The same Indiana team that folks are saying, oh, well, it's just Indiana. Same Indiana team that those teams ran up against, and Indiana held them pretty much in check. Now look at the numbers Ohio State had against them over the weekend. Against Ohio State, that same Indiana, that poor Indiana, well, the same Indiana defense, Ohio State put up over 300 yards rushing against them, 7.8 yards per carry. The same Indiana defense that Michigan went against, Illinois went against, Penn State went against. Teams with better running games than Ohio State. Yeah, 7.8 yards per carry. And you always get the pushback. Well, you take out the 71 yard by Xavier, the big run by Mayan, you take that out. Well, you can't take it. That's part of the game. You scheme your game to get those big runs. So that's part of the game. You can't take all this when those arguments. Well, you got to take that out. Well, you can't. It affects the average. You take that out. They scheme the game to get the big game, so you can't take it out. 7.8 yards per game, over 300 yards rushing with our backups. Not even a full-time backup. Xavier Johnson's a receiver who moonlights at running back when needed. Hayden carried the big load following the second half because Mayan was on his way to a big day. Those numbers may even have been better if Mayan had played the full game. But he went out second quarter, and I think at the time he went out, he had 150 yards when he went out. So the running game was clicking. It was clicking. It looked good. I don't care who the opponent was. They looked good. The same opponent held running teams to less yards per carry. Just keep that in mind. Same defense, bad or whatnot you want to call them. They held running teams, Michigan, Illinois. They held them guys in check for the most part. We almost ran 8 yards per carry against that same defense. So going into this weekend, we need to keep building on that. We need to keep the running game going because you're going to need the running game against Michigan. But we'll say all the Michigan talk for Michigan week. But you need to keep going on with the running game, keep improving the running game, and keep working on the running game, and make sure we remain a balanced attack because you got the running game going. It's going to open up the passing game. So it's important to keep the running game going. Now, Mayan, Trevion. We saw the injury of Mayan at the end of the game. He seemed to be smiling, seemed to be in good spirit. Some of the tweets or whatnot following that game, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything long term with him. He, like I said, he was smiling at the end of the game, so it doesn't appear to be as serious as when he first went out, when he could barely put any weight on his ankle. But if I'm Ryan Day, putting on my coaching hat, if I'm Ryan Day and I've had the opportunity to sit Trevion, sit Mayan Williams, if you had the opportunity to sit them against Maryland, start Dallin Hayden, throw in Xavier Johnson, and if Chip Trayanum is available, there are your three running backs for Maryland: Hayden, Johnson, Chip. I just say Chip because it's hard saying his last name. So if those three are available, I would roll with those three. Let Mayan and Trevion rest up for the game. But that's me. That is me. That's what I would do. That's what CorDogg would do. I would rest Mayan. I would rest Trevion. And let your other guys play. Get the balanced attack going, get the passing game going, work them in. Try to get someone else going other than Harrison. Try to get some Mecca involved some more. Try to get Fleming involved some more. I know he had some drops. We got to get Julian involved some more. And then some of the folks are floating around, which is an interesting point. And we'll get to JSN, but if Bab is available, if he's available, work him in some. Let Cameron Babb work in some. If just for anything, it might just be another uplift for the offense. Work him in some. Give him some meaningful snaps. You know, how great would that be? How great would that be to see Cameron Babb actually run in there and during some meaningful play time and then balance out that attack. And in particular, if JSN can't go, if Jackson can't go, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, heading into the Indiana game. I thought the Indiana game was the game to try to start working Jackson back in if he was going to be available and productive for the rest of the year. And it didn't happen, so I'm assuming the hamstring is not 100%. And again, I will say, if it's not 100% at this point, I would just shut him down and just let him get ready for the combine if that's his choosing. Because how productive is he going to be with so few games left in the season? I mean, if this is the very last thing, if he can't play at all against Maryland, I'm not playing him the rest of the year. Because then you try to get that awkwardness of getting them back into the flow of the game, and you done built the chemistry up with Harrison Jr., with Emeka, with Julian Fleming, and whoever the fourth receiver, with Cade Stover. And trying to work Jackson back in at this point, so late in the season, I just don't know if that would be the best thing offensively at this time, or how effective it would be, or how productive it would be. Because there's always that filling out period that the quarterback has with the receiver trying to get used. So so if he's going to play, it has to be this week. You got to start getting him into the groove a little bit. If he doesn't play against Maryland, then I'm not playing him at all against Michigan. And then I would really hesitate on playing Jackson if he can't go against Maryland. And we'll just go off the guys we got, which is still the best group in the country. I only think it's close, just because we have Marvin Harrison Jr. That's how much he elevates the rest of this receiving room. And then you throw in Emeka, you throw in Fleming, you throw in whoever else you want to throw in at that point. It's still the best group in the country, in my opinion. And if you can't work them in, this is the week to work Jackson in. What do y'all think? If Jackson can't go this week, are you trying to get Smith and Jigba back into the game at this point in the season, or would it be better off just for him to sit and wait? My feeling is, if he can't go this game at all, let the young man sit and get ready for Sundays, because I just don't know how effective he will be other than being a decoy. But he's an amazing. He could surprise if he doesn't play this week and come out and have a monster game against Michigan. I don't know. It's just personally, I'll have a hard time of pitting him back out there after missing virtually the entire season. So we'll see how they handle that. We'll see how healthy he is. But in Maryland, they should be able to show Michigan we're going to have a balanced attack, both running and throwing the ball, and we can do it and give them a lot to look for. And if Jackson's part of that mix this week, I'm all for it, because that gives them another person they need to look out for. If Jackson can go and he can show he's healthy. If he can't go at 100% or 80 to 90%, then I don't know if I would be playing Jackson, Smith, and Jigba for the rest of the year. But that's CorDogg's take on on the offense in Jackson. I really want to see him. If he can go, I really do want to in there, and this is the week to try to get him in there. We'll see. We'll see what Saturday holds. We'll see what it holds. So that's the Maryland preview. I think we need to run the ball. Going to be a test. Make sure Indiana game wasn't that. We're back on track. Our running game is good. It's solid. Regardless who's in the backfield, we need to show we can run the ball. First thing, balanced attack. Second thing for the offense. The defense, secondary, you're up. They're going to throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to run consistently against us. Like I said, they'll probably be looking to do some few things. They haven't looked good the last few weeks. A desperate team. Desperate team at home. They do desperate stuff, so they're going to throw the kitchen sink at you. So you got to be ready. Hope the secondary's ready. Hope the corners are ready, and see if we can get some pressure. We'll see. We'll see what Jim knows got for a passing team. Maryland's probably. We'll see what he has. I'm anxious to see what he has for a passing team with a mobile quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback. He can keep plays open, extend plays. And we all know what happens when you got a quarterback that's able to extend plays. Stuff breaks down in the secondary. So we'll see. It's going to be a test in the passing game, and hopefully they come out first half ready to go, and we can just try to relax some for the second half and rest some guys and get ready for next week. Can't look past it. You look past this week, and that's when stuff bites. And that's when things happen to sneak up on you. So be ready to play from the get-go. Don't sleepwalk through the first half. Show up, mean business, handle care of the business, and hopefully by halftime, Maryland knows they don't have a shot, and sometimes you can take their will and you can coast to victory. So hopefully, we can get that done and start focusing on Michigan sooner rather than later. But first things first. Handle your business against Maryland. Work on the stuff you need to work on. Get that running game. Make sure it wasn't a one-time deal against Indiana. Get your passing game on point. Your passing defense on point. And the corners are going to be tested. Let's see what they can do. All righty. The other good thing following the Indiana game was our boy C.J. Stroud sort of took his place again at the top of the mantle for the Heisman. I saw some of the latest odds. He sort of extended the gap between himself and the rest of the pack. So again, another opportunity for him to put up some decent numbers, some good numbers, because if he does what he's supposed to do, he shouldn't be playing in the fourth quarter. And a lot of these quarterbacks they're trying to pump up now. These guys are playing like Drake May. He's the latest. He has to play the whole. He has to play the whole game. To put up the numbers that C.J. Stroud for a good portion this year has gone out third quarter, midway. He hasn't played a full fourth quarter in a lot of these games. So the numbers for Drake May are there because he's needed to play. So putting the numbers side by side, to me, I think that does disservice to C.J. Stroud because he hasn't had to play a full game as many times as Drake May has played. Then of course you still got Hooker still in the mix. They put up the big numbers against Missouri. I don't know how much that was stat padding or whatnot, but he put up big numbers. So the usual folks are still in the mix. They were trying to they're trying to raise up Bo Nickel big time for Oregon, but they went out and Michael Penix, the former Indiana quarterback, outplayed them. Led Washington to a win, so that sure to shot Bo Nickel down the thing. So the next big person on the horizon is Drake May. You still got Hooker, but like I said, C.J. Stroud, he sort of distanced himself again between him and the supposed other people in contention. So again, if he has a good game against Maryland, puts up some decent numbers, he should remain at the top. And again, if he closes out against Michigan, if he goes undefeated for the regular season, I think it is his. But first thing first, let's take care of Maryland. Worry about the game next week and just do your thing. He's up for the Heisman. He's up for some other awards. The Johnny Unitas Award he is up for. And I believe the Davey O'Brien Award he is obviously up for. So any quarterback award C.J. Stroud is up for. So again, just kudos to him and kudos to him and the kind of year he is putting together and the kind of year he is having. Mother folks on award watch is one that caught me totally by surprise coming into this season, but I think it is so deserved. Is our man Cade Stover. I told y'all my last posting. I think Stover is one of my favorite players. That dude he's a beast. He's a linebacker mentality on offense, and we get those type of dudes. He'll run over you, and he got a little bit of niftiness too. Like he showed some against the Penn State game, or one of those games. He got made some moves, got a little bit of niftiness to him. But when he needs to, he'll run your butt over. I love me some Cade Stover. He's probably my favorite player outside of Marvin. He's probably my favorite player on. I want the whole team. I love me some Cade Stover and what he brings to the table. And he's up for the Mackey Award. I don't think anybody saw that coming in, because who they talk about tight end wise is your boy out of Georgia and your boy out of Notre Dame. And they're good. They're good pass receivers, but I'm shocked at how good Stover has been at the tight end spot. I did not foresee that. I thought we were going to have a little bit of drop off when Jeremy Ruckert moved on, but Stover, that dude's a beast. I love me some Cade Stover, so probably ain't gonna win it, but the fact he's even recognized and mentioned is just kudos to him and the work he's put in to that position. Who knows, if he had been there the whole time, no telling what. If he had actually been tight end the whole time he's been here at Ohio State, no telling what he'd be doing. He probably would be getting mentioned with those other guys, but no, hats off to Cade Stover and the job he's done at the tight end position, which I think coming in, people may have been a little worried about losing Jeremy Ruckert and what he brought to the table, but man, how can you not like what Cade Stover has done this year at that position? Just boom. Cade Stover, my dude on the offensive side of the ball is Cade Stover. And then lastly, in the awards world, I saw this pop up for the fan voting for the Biletnikoff Award, and I was looking at the numbers and who the leaders are right now, and our boy is a distant third in the fan voting. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a distant third. So I'll put the link up there, or you can see it, or just go to Biletnikoff Award fan vote and try to pump our man up some. Probably ain't gonna overtake him, but he should be a lot closer than the distant third than the folks. I guess it's your guy out of Tennessee, and I think the other receivers out of Washington. Good receivers, hats off to them, but they are not. They're there based on numbers only. And they got fervent fan base because of the fan base voting, but they're based on numbers only. Fan base is Tennessee's. They done flooded the stuff to vote for them. But anyone watching college football this year know who the best receiver is this year. It's supposed to be Jackson. It was supposed to be Jackson. That just showed how awesome our receiver room is. He go down, and we still got the best receiver. We still got the best one. And if you haven't looked at it, go back and look at the catch from last week. He had. I think even our boy Ocho Cinco, he had to weigh in on the case. I guess he watched the ESPN countdown, and I watch it sometime. But to find out that catch clocked in at number Ocho said it clocked in at number 4. But like, what other? And they wanted and all weekend long you heard about the catch from Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. That was a good catch. But the one-handed thing sort of getting played, but I pit Marvin Harrison Jr.'s catch over what Justin Jefferson did for the Vikings any day. One catch, contested, dude was right there. That was a beautiful catch. But what Marvin did, oh no. And then got up like it was nothing. Like more people, they snap a leg or something, but nah. And then only number 4 in the top 10 of plays? Nah, come on, ESPN. I know y'all be hating, but damn. Marvin is a freak of nature. So fans, go pump our boy up some. Probably ain't gonna overtake the Tennessee folks, but he should be more than the distant third. So anyway, that's the fan vote. Go vote for our boy Marvin. Please. Let's show our boy some love. Get him up there. Ohio State fans, are we just as fervent as anybody else? Boom, hit our boy up and get Marvin up in the vote. Then lastly, on the defensive side, I believe another one of my favorites is Tommy Eichenberg, and he's up for the he's a semifinalist for the Lot Impact Award. So our team, they're doing stuff. They're doing stuff on the field, and hopefully Eichenberg's ready to have a big game against Maryland because he's gonna be all over the field. And we'll see how that goes. But we got some folks up for some stuff. So Ohio State doing their thing as they normally do. So we will see how that goes. But just before I move on, Marvin, go vote for him. Pump him up, pump him up, pump him up. All right. So as I mentioned, or as I say, I love Ohio State in general. It's not just about the Buckeyes. And for those who I've seen some of my other stuff, I love my next. If it's not the Ohio State football, one of my next favorite teams has been the Lady Buckeyes basketball team. And I mentioned it, touched upon it last week. The Lady Buckeyes, we put a beat down on Tennessee. Was ranked number 5 at the time. Was a top 15 matchup last week, and our Lady Buckeyes they shut up. It basically was a blowout. Like I said at the time, my last posting, if you're not a Lady Buckeyes fan, go watch that third quarter against our Lady Buckeyes in Tennessee, and just see how we just laid the smack down on the Lady Volunteers. I said they were too low ranked at the time. Now this week they've come. I think they jumped from 14 up to number 8, which I think that's a good ranking. They went on the road the other evening. They got Boston College, and again they cranked out. I think through the first 2 games they got more steals or caused more turnovers. Our defense, that defense is on point. Then offensively, J.C. Sheldon and Taylor Mikesell, we got a good girls, ladies team, a good ladies basketball team, top 10 team. You haven't checked them out yet, go look at our Lady Buckeyes. They are doing their stuff on the basketball court, and not to be outdone. Still sticking with some other Buckeye sports. I told you I keep stuff on my periphery. I see what's going on around Buckeye world, and I try to tell y'all to go check them out because our Buckeyes are doing their thing. And over the weekend, our Lady Buckeyes in volleyball, they did their thing. Lady Cornhuskers came into town, the number 4 team in volleyball. Our ladies smacked them down 3-1, 3 games to 1. Beat them. I think they exacted some revenge on the Cornhuskers. The Cornhuskers beat them earlier this year in a 5-setter game. We probably should have won when I actually went back and looked at it. It was a 5-setter. Our Lady Buckeyes was leading that, and they let them back in. And Nebraska used to home court and ended up winning that game in 5 sets. But our lady, we got some revenge on them, beat them 3-1. So our ladies are right there. I think they're tied for Wisconsin for first place in the conference. So again, if you get the opportunity to watch our Lady Buckeyes, please do it. I think we have one of the top setters in the nation, Mac Pedroza. So just ain't all about the football here. Our football team's on point, but go check out some of our other sports. We're doing well in some of those other sports as well. And oh, by the way, we have the number 1 team. Again, our women's hockey, defending national champions. I think they just climbed back up to the number 1 ranking if they weren't there already. So again, our ladies are doing their stuff on the court, on the ice. Check out our other sports programs. Our men's team, basketball team, Chris Holtmanson brought in top 10 classes the last 2 years. I think we cracked the top 25 with these latest rankings. A lot of young guys, a lot of new faces. So if you haven't had a chance to watch them yet, go watch our men's Buckeyes team too. So we're doing stuff in some of these other sports. Go check them out. Go check them out. And before we sign off for today, just got to talk about my man Justin Fields. Justin Fields is doing his thing in the NFL, and it's just amazing how he dropped the way he did coming out of Ohio State. And I think what Justin Fields is doing now, especially if he's able to maintain it and keep it going, what he's doing now in the NFL is what I believe, again, rest in peace, is what Dwayne Haskins did for Ohio State. Because when Dwayne Haskins got here, he changed the type of quarterback we could recruit here to Ohio State. Because I firmly believe without Dwayne Haskins and what he was able to do, we never get Justin Fields. We never get Kyle McCord. We never get Dylan Riella. We never get Devin. We don't get the quarterbacks we're now able to get. And I lay that at the feet of what Haskins was able to do. Same thing here. I think coming out of Ohio State, we had that stigma. And before I move on from, I think Haskins was on his way there. Had he been given a proper opportunity at Washington, but they never wanted him. Their coaching, they never wanted him. They never developed him the way he should have been developed. And I think he was on his way to do that at Pittsburgh. I think he was going to win the starting spot, and he was going to do what he needed to do to start changing the stigma around that Ohio State quarterback. So again, rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins. Real important for what he did for Ohio State in terms of the type of quarterback we're now bringing into to the school. And I think Justin Fields, if he can keep doing what he's doing, he's going to change the stigma of the Ohio State quarterback in the NFL. Because I think that's why he dropped. That's what I can't think of no other explanation of why he dropped. Why you going to take a Trey Lance? No disrespect to Trey Lance, he's good, but everything Trey Lance does or does, Justin Fields does it better, and he did it at a Power 5 school. And how he dropped I don't understand. But I think it's playing itself out on the field that a lot of people are just knocking themselves that they passed on this young man for whatever reason. I hope he keeps doing it. I think he's going to change the mindset of folks as they come out of Ohio State. And I think what Justin Fields is now doing is going to translate to C.J. Stroud and his draft status. I bet he doesn't drop like Justin dropped. And I think Justin probably ended up being a better overall quarterback because he has that running ability, getting back to the running game. But Stroud, he's not going to drop like Justin dropped because he's more of your prototypical pro quarterback, pocket passer, and Stroud's not going to, I don't think he's going to drop the way Fields dropped, and I think a lot of that's due to what Fields is doing in the NFL right now. So hopefully he can keep it up. Hopefully Chicago can get some talent around him and protect him before he gets killed out there. But you've seen him these last few weeks. They designed the offense tailor-made to him, and he's just shining like a star. So hopefully he can keep it up. I think that'll bode well for C.J. Stroud and future Ohio State quarterbacks as they transition to the NFL and get rid of that stigma that Ohio State quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL. I do believe Haskins was going to change that mode, and Justin is definitely changing that. So hopefully he can keep it up, and Chicago will surround him by. He's picking up some numbers. The wins got to start coming, even though I've seen some of those games and the referees. I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. Keep doing your thing, Justin. Keep doing your thing. So again, that's it for this segment. So a lot of stuff going on in the Buckeye world. Gotta get ready for Maryland. Don't look past them. We know what's coming next week. Let's handle business this week and do our thing. And again, if you're liking what you heard this segment, please hit the like button. You want to comment on anything I said or shoot, please drop it in the comments. Should we sit Mayan and Trevion and just let them rest up for next week? Jackson Smith and Jigba, what do you guys think we should do with him? Just let the young man rest or try to get him back in? If this is the week to work him back in. So again, hit the like button if you're liking this segment. If you just feeling in general what we going on here and you feeling what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button and like I said, help build this thing up, trying to build it up from a grassroots point of view, talking about what the fans are talking about and bringing it to you, a positive spin in Buckeye Nation. So again, hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Let's build this up. So again, thank you for taking the time to watch out and check out the CorDogg experience. And until next time, OHIO, go Bucks.